All right, question. Are we too reliant on Yah's grace? Do we rely on Yah's grace too much? You think so? Come on, y'all, speak to me. Let me know what you think. Do we rely on His grace too much? Yes, no? Come on, y'all speak. Come on,
Yes.
what do you think? Yeah?
Yes.
Don't. If you say yes, why? Why are we relying on this? Why do you think we're relying on His grace too much? Go ahead.
Because He's so good, we take Him for granted.
Yeah, we take it for granted. Anybody else?
Take away our accountability.
We take away our accountability. Ooh. Yeah. Anybody else? If I can get that dripping. I almost got like a little rhythm to it. Anybody else? Why do you think we're too reliant on God's grace? Anybody disagree? Like, no, we need His grace for everything, but we can't have too much grace. Because we're sin bound, grace much more abound. Anybody thinking that way? No? All right. I'm going to read 1 Samuel first. And most of what we're going to be looking at today is out of 2 Samuel. All right? So remember, I'm asking a question about grace. The topic, though, is the consequence of ignorance. There's a price that we pay for ignorance. Sometimes we feel like, well, I didn't know. Then we good. Oh, I didn't know. And it's okay if you don't know. But sometimes there's a consequence for ignorance. Now you might want to go 50 miles an hour down the stretch of Capitol because everybody else is going 50. But when the police pull you over and say, "Did you know this is a 30-mile-an-hour zone?" No, I didn't know. The police officer will say, "Oh, okay, all right then. We'll see you later." No, they're gonna write you a ticket. Right? Yeah, you're right. But there are exceptions. I'm talking about the norm, right? The norm, not the exception. So, Samuel chapter 1, verse 14. And we're going to talk about this account. And the cart came into the field of Joshua, a Bethshemite, and stood there where there was a great stone. And they clave the wood of the cart and offered the kine, or a kine. Anybody know what a kine is? A kine is a heifer, right? A nursing cow, right? They offered the kine a burnt offering unto Yahweh. And the cart came into the field of Joshua of Bethshemite and stood there where there was a great stone, and they clave the wood of the cart and offered the kine a burnt offering unto Yahweh. And we'll continue. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verses 7 through 12. Right? The wrath of Yahweh burned against Uzzah. Not sure how to say his name properly. Get my mouse together, all right? And Elohim struck him there for the fault. And he died there by the ark of Elohim. So we probably all are kind of familiar with this account. Right? In this account, King David has placed an order to bring the Ark of the Covenant, right, back to Jerusalem. And this is a grand occasion. And they got partying and dancing and music and praise going on. And then the Ark was on the cart, a new cart, brand new cart, you know. Probably the latest model cart of that day. Probably had chrome, you know, and gold-plated wheels, you know. But it didn't have no shock absorbers. It said the oxen, you know, the oxen were like it was, you know, the animals that was pulling the cart would stumble. And so this guy named Uzzah said, oh, you can't let the ark fall. And he went to steady it, and then Yah struck him dead. Why would Yah do that? Ain't that mean? Is that cruel? Wasn't supposed to touch it? That's the ark. Do you think Uzzah meant any harm? Yah still struck him, didn't he? Is he the same Yah today?
Yes. He changed them.
He said, I changed not. So if that happened again today, would he be covered by the blood of Jesus? I'm asking it on purpose. Because we feel like the wrath of God or wrath of Yah has been covered now. And we don't have to worry about his wrath anymore. Because now we got grace. We got grace through Yahusha. But did he change? I don't know. Let's do some reading. All right, we're going to keep on reading in this account just to give us a little more insight. In David. And David was displeased because Yahuwah had broken out against Uzzah. I'm just going to call him Uzzah. And he called the name of the place Peretz Uzzah until this day. You know, for extra 10 points, somebody look up what Peretz means. That'd be interesting. Verse 9. And David was afraid of Yahuwah on that day and said, how shall the ark of Yahuwah come to me? He wants the presence. He wants that ark back. He said, well, how is this going to be? If we touch it, he's going to kill people. And David would not move the ark of Yahuwah with him until the city of David. But David turned it aside to the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite. Verse 11. And the ark of Yahuwah remained in the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite, 3 new moons. How long is 3 new moons? 3 months. Right? 3 months. And Yahuwah blessed Obed-Edom and all his house. So he got the blessing. Just imagine that ark is sitting up in their house, and then, you know, a baby girl who had illness for years and years, all of a sudden, she ain't sick no more. And all of a sudden, their crops are they got bumper crops. And all of a sudden, their animals are just reproducing and just as healthy as ever. And Mrs. Obed-Edom is happy. And Mr. Obed-Edom, right, is prosperous. Right, for 3 months, they get blessed because this ark is in their presence. Verse 12. And it was reported to sovereign David, or David the king, saying, Yahuwah has blessed the house of Obed-Edom and all that he has. See, it's everything. We think of a blessing this in our bank account. It said all that he has. That meant every animal he had, everything he was growing, every grape on the vine, all his children, all his grand, whatever he had was blessed. Everything he had. And he said, why? Because the ark of Elohim. David then went and brought up the ark of Elohim from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David, rejoicing. So when David saw after 3 months that he was still alive from the first place, right? And that he was blessed, then he went and sent for this ark. All right? He went and sent for the ark. So, Why was Yahuwah so angry with Uzzah? Was it really that bad? He protected the ark. He didn't want that ark on the ground. Can you imagine that if the ark on the ground? Why was he so angry? Another question is, why Gath? Why Gath? Gath. All right, so look at verse 10. And David would not move the ark of Yahuwah unto him, unto the city of David, but David turned it aside to the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite. So I looked up Gittites. Gittites were inhabitants of Gath. Gath. And the word Gath means wine press. So apparently that region that they were in, they must have had vineyards. And it was known for their vineyards. They had wine presses there. And I looked at some of the other parts of the meaning. It says, one of the 5 royal or chief cities of the Philistines and the native city of Goliath. Look what else it is. The land of the giants, the Anakims, or some people call it the Anaki or Anakim. So Gath is a known place. They're known for their wine presses, but also royalty lives there, so it must be nice. It must be a nice place. The royalty of the Philistines live there. And they even have famous people. They're rich and famous. Lifestyles are rich and famous. They had Goliath.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just Goliath. Goliath and his family. They had giants there. They had giants there. So when we look at the history of Gath, Gath was a common battleground between Israel and the Philistines. This city went back and forth and back and forth. This area went back and forth. When Joshua came in, and you look at Joshua 11:22, it said there were none of the Anakim left in the land of the children of Israel, only in Uzzah, in Gath, and in Ashdod some remained. So in Joshua's conquest, they went through, they took out a lot of giants. They took out a lot of them. But there was some left. Goliath is evidence of that. And Gath is one of the cities where they knew there were giants in that region. But yet David chose to lead the ark there. He chose to lead the ark there. He chose to lead the ark there. So this is a common battleground between Yah's people and the seed of Satan. Why you call it the seed of, I'm calling them the seed of Satan. They're descendants of fallen angels, to be more accurate. Right? The Anakim, the giants, right? They're descendants of fallen angels that mix with the women on the earth. They produce giants. Goliath's family is one of them. And so this is a battleground. It's a battleground. And it goes back and forth. It starts off where, in 1 Samuel chapter 4, and we might read some of this, Hophni and Phinehas, they put the name of Yah to shame. And they allowed the ark to be stolen. They took the ark out to war against the Philistines. Y'all, we should read this. Let's read this. Y'all. I know some of y'all go to sleep already. This is good stuff, y'all. This is good stuff. It was so big. I don't know if I can see properly. All right, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 4. I don't know even how to close this. Oh, okay. We'll try again. 1 Samuel chapter 4. All right. This was the word of Samuel, was to all Israel, and Israel went out to battle against the Philistines, and encamped beside Eben Hazir, while the Philistines encamped in Aphek, or I'm not sure how to say that. The Philistines put themselves in battle array against Israel. And when the battle spread, Israel was stricken by the Philistines, who killed about 4,000 men of the army in the field. So the battle was hot. Philistines was coming in hot. It was getting it. And when the people came into the camp, the elders of Israel said, "Why has Yah smitten us today before the Philistines? Let us bring the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah from Shiloh to us, so that he comes into the midst and save us from the hand of our enemies." So you can already see there's some things going wrong. There's some things. These are our covenant people, and they're not getting protected. So now they're going to take matters in their own hands. They want to touch Yah's anointed, set-apart thing and bring it in the midst of their battle. Right? Let's go do this. Now, if somebody is operating in their priestly position, they'll be like, no. We need to hear from the prophet first, and we need to get instruction. And then when we pull this ark out here, we need to do it the right way. Right? Let's see what happened. And the people sent to Shiloh, and they brought from there the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah of hosts, dwelling between the cherub. And the two sons of Eli, y'all remember Eli, the high priest, he had them two sons who were, they weren't good. They weren't good. Hophni and Phinehas. They used to have prostitutes inside the temple. These were some bad dudes that took advantage of people. So here, they're out in the battlefield, they're losing, and they're not seeking Abba to understand why he's not protecting them in the first place. Then they decide they're going to do something on their own. And then these two knuckleheads coming with the ark. They don't even serve Yah. They're just priests by blood, by the bloodline. Right? And it says they were there with the ark of the covenant of Elohim. And when the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah came into the camp, all Israel shouted so loudly that the earth shook. Isn't that something? So they're out there, they're losing the war, and all of a sudden, Brother Charles, they see the ark coming, and everybody starts shouting. And they shouted so loud, it said the earth was shaking. I mean, right? How do you think the Philistines reacted? They said the earth shook. And when the Philistines heard the noise of the shout, they said, "What is the noise of this great shout in the camp of the Hebrews?" And when they knew that the ark of Yahuwah had come into the camp, the Philistines were afraid. For they said, "Elohim has come into the camp." Oh, Elohim has come into the camp. And they said, "Woe to us, for it has never been like this before." So they think about all the times they battled, all the times they duked it out. They never seen Elohim come into the camp. It was like, whoa, it's never been like this before. Woe to us, who shall deliver us from the hand of these mighty Elohim? These are the Elohim who struck this is Egyptians, right? Mitzrites, Egyptians. Right, these are the Elohim who struck the Mitzrites with all the plagues in the wilderness. Oh, now they put it together. Right, they're putting them together. It says, "Be strong and be men, you Philistines, that you do not become servants of the Hebrews, as they have been to you. Be men and fight." So now they're getting challenged. First it was fear, like, man, this is the same guy that did that to the Egyptians. We going up against him? And then somebody's like, "Oh man, we're not gonna be no servants of the Hebrews. No, we ain't going down like that. Y'all man up. Man up. Y'all man up. Be strong, be men, get ready to fight." And the Philistines fought, and Israel was smitten. In other words, they got their butt beat, right? And every man fled to his tent, and the slaughter was very great. And there fell of Israel 30,000 foot soldiers. While the ark is right there. The ark is right there. At first they only lost 3,000, remember? And now they're up to 30,000. Now that the ark arrived, and now 30,000 of them got killed. The ark of Elohim was captured, and the two sons of Eli died, Hophni and Phinehas. All right, I think I'm going to stop reading right here. We're going to go into the next chapter. Yeah, because we finished reading this, you'll see the messenger came to Eli, told him the news that his sons died and the ark got captured. Yep, here it is right here. It says, and the messenger answered and said, Israel has fled before the Philistines, and there has been a great slaughter among the people. And your 2 sons have died, Hophni and Phinehas, and the ark of Elohim has been captured. And then it says, Eli fell over in his seat backwards on his neck, broke his neck, and died because he was big. And it says that. Maybe not the exact words, but that's what it says. So this is a bad story. This same ark, where's my cursor, y'all? Here it is. This same ark that Yah killed Uzzah over was allowed to be captured by the enemy. Make it make sense. How does that make sense? The same ark. The same ark that when Uzzah tried to hold it, and he got struck down. And now some Philistines got it. The enemies of the army of Israel. I'm going to keep reading, y'all. Stay with me. And the Philistines took the ark of Elohim and brought it from Eben Hazer to Ashab. And the Philistines took the ark of Elohim and brought it to the house of Dagon. And set it by Dagon. Y'all remember that part of the story? Let's read some more. It's good. And the Ashdodites rose up early in the morning and saw Dagon falling on his face to the ground before the ark of Yahweh. So they took Dagon and put it in his place again. So Dagon was the god that they worshiped. They put the ark in the temple of Dagon, got there in the morning, and Dagon was on his face before the ark. They picked it up, put it back in its place. They rose up early the next morning and saw Dagon falling on his face to the ground before the ark of Yahuwah. And the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off on the threshold, and Dagon itself was left of it. Right? And so now the tide is turning. They bring this ark up. They go, let's put this ark in with our other guys. We're gonna be powerful. Now we got Yahuwah and we got Dagon. And they found out that ain't no match for Yahuwah. Dagon. It fell on his face, right? All right. So I'm gonna paraphrase and we'll skip down a little bit. What verse is it? Verse 8. Then they sent and gathered to them all the princes of the Philistines and said, what do we do with this ark of Elohim of Israel? And the answer said, let the ark of Elohim of Israel be removed from Gath.
Yes.
Same place that David said put it. They had it there first. They said, let it be removed. Get it out of this area. And they removed the ark of Elohim. And it came to be after they removed it that the hand of Elohim was against the city and with very great destruction. And he struck the men of that city from the least to the greatest with tumors broke out on them. Now, if y'all read in a different translation, it's a different word that's used there. These weren't just tumors. They were hemorrhoids. God struck all the men with hemorrhoids. That whole city. They struggled with hemorrhoids. I don't even know why you picked that. Out of all things you could, he gave all the hemorrhoids. Woo! It said tumors broke out on them. Then they sent the ark of Elohim to Ekron. And it came to be as the ark of Elohim came to Ekron, that the Ekronites cried out, saying, they have removed the ark of Elohim of Israel to us to kill us and our people. So they took it out of one Philistine city and put it in the other one. And now the Ekron, they were like, oh, y'all brought this over here now, it's going to start killing us too. Killing us with hemorrhoids. And they sent and gathered together all the princes of the Philistines and said, send away the ark of Elohim of Israel and let it return to its old place so that it does not kill us and our people. For there had come a deadly destruction throughout all the city. The hand of Elohim was very heavy there. It's paying the price. They were paying the price. And the men who did not die were stricken with hemorrhoids. And the pride of the city went up there to the heavens. So is Yah playing with his stuff? He don't play with his stuff. When things are sanctified, you know, when we call it, we use the word holy, right? When he calls something set apart and sanctified, he means it. He means it. When he put his glory on something, when he put his presence on something, even with his ruach, when he puts his ruach on something or in something, that's why Yahushua said, you can be forgiven of all sins except blasphemy against what? Holy Spirit, the ruach. We cannot touch God's stuff ignorantly and feel like it's going to be okay. Oh, we got grace to cover that. All right. It said, right there, come deadly destruction. Let's see what happens next. So they stole the ark. The first city, people start dying and getting hemorrhoids. They send it to the next city, and they start dying. And it got worse. It got worse. All right, chapter 6. And the ark of Yahuwah was in the field of the Philistines for 7 new moons, or 7 months. So they took it out and put it out in the field. Let's just put it far away from everybody. Because these hemorrhoids ain't no joke. Right? They put it out in the field. And the Philistines called for the priests and for the diviners, saying, what do we do with the ark of Yahuwah? Let us know with what we should send in its place. And the priests, they responded and said, if you send away the ark of Elohim or Yahuwah, do not send it empty. Don't just take it away. He said, don't send it away empty. He said, but you shall certainly return it to him with a guilt offering. The King James says a trespass offering. So even their priests who served Dagon and probably Baal, they knew that they needed to have a guilt offering or a sin offering or a trespass offering. They want to be right with Yahuwah. Right? They want to be right. And the priest is like, hey, don't just send it away. Because just because you send it away, it don't mean that these things are going to stop happening. You need to have an offering with that. We keep going. It says, then you are going to be healed, and it shall be known to you why his hand does not turn aside from you. Right? They want to be healed. It don't sound comfortable. And they said, what is the guilt offering which we should return to him? And they said, the number of the princes of the Philistines, 5 golden hemorrhoids. You can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this up. I couldn't believe when I read it. You know, whoever translated this, they used the nice term tumor. When you look it up in Hebrew, it's hemorrhoids. So they're going to make 5 golden hemorrhoids and 5 golden rats. I mean, can you imagine this? You're talking about the Elohim that created everything, the most powerful one of all. Rats are unclean. You're not supposed to touch a rat. And you're going to make golden hemorrhoids? That's going to be your offering? Let's see what happens. 5 golden hemorrhoids and 5 golden rats. For the same plague was on all of you and your princes. And you shall make images of your tumors, your hemorrhoids, and images of your rats that ruin the land. So evidently, not only were they having hemorrhoids, but rats were coming in and destroying the land. And so they're taking these 2 things that they were plagued with, they're making a golden image of them as a trespass offering. Right? They're recognizing before Yah, we did wrong by you. We got your stuff. We got your precious things. Please take it back and please heal us, right? Heal our land. It said, and you shall give esteem to the Elohim of Israel. It could be that he does not lift his hand from you, from your mighty ones, and from your land. So they knew it's possible he might not even forget y'all. We're going to offer this up, but just know, he might not even lift this off of you or your mighty ones, right? From your mighty ones or from your land. And why do you harden your hearts as the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their hearts? Right? And so then it goes in to talk about their remedy. I'm not going to read all of it. I'm just going to paraphrase for time. So their remedy was, they said, go ahead, make your 5 golden mice, make your 5 golden hemorrhoids. We're going to send that as an offering. We're going to make a brand new cart or wagon for the ark, and then we're going to get 2 fresh heifers, and we're going to tie them to the ark. And if they go a certain way, then we know Yah has accepted our offering, right? And so if they go the way toward Israel, then we know He accepted our offering. And so they sent the cows on. It says, and take the ark of Yahuwah and put it on a wagon, and they put the objects of gold, which are returning to Him as a guilt offering, in a chest by His side, and sent it away. Right? And then it came to the city. It came to the border of Beth Shemesh, which is a town in Judah.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You probably, Brother Larry, that's a lot of reading. All right. So here we see the Philistine cities. Ashdod got the ark first, and they start having their breakout. They sent it to the next city, and it got worse. It got worse. And so they decided, okay, let's put this thing out in the countryside until we decide what to do with it. And then they went ahead and made this guilt offering. And sure enough, those heifers took that cart back to the land of Judah. Right? And it's unbelievable. But apparently Abba must have accepted their sin offering. As strange as it was. As strange as it was. All right. What is significant about Beth Shemesh? All right. So this first city, this Beth Shemesh, it was a Levite town. Levites are the chosen ones to be the priesthood. So, okay. Now the ark just shows up out of nowhere in a Levite city. A city where the Levites are. And so you would think, okay, they know what to do with it. All right, it's over now. Now Israel got their ark back, right? Yeah. Let's go to chapter 6, verse 19. It says, the men looked into the ark and were killed, as well as 3,070 Beshemites. The town of Levites didn't even know how to treat the ark. They didn't even reference the ark. And all they did was look into it. All they did was look into it. They looked into the ark. And 3,070 Beshemites got killed. So what they do? We're going to send it on to the next town. So my bad. This first town was a town of Levi, not Judah. My bad. Right? It was a town of the Beshemites. And those are Levites. Right? And so when these 3,000 folks got killed for looking inside the ark, then they started to inquire. They called for the men of Kirjath Jearim. Right? And this city is on the border of Judah. It's on the border of Judah's territory. And we're not going to go there. We see that in Joshua chapter 18. Now what's interesting about this city is that it was first called Kirjath Baal. Kirjath Baal. And it means the city of Baal. And you know, Baal means Lord, right? Or Lord is Baal. City of Baal. But then they renamed it to Kirjath Jearim, the city that's guarded by force. The city is guarded by force. So they send it to this place, and Judah is there. Judah is there. Right? And so after it gets there, that's when we get back to our original text in this account, where David said, okay, let's bring this thing back home. Now the reason I went through all of that is when we don't read it, we don't understand how important Yah's things are. We take them for granted. We take it for granted. And we come up in an age where we just lived off of grace. And so we have this American mindset that it should be all right. No matter where we go in the world, I'm American. I better treat my passport right. See my passport? Y'all don't speak English? Right? And we do that with grace. We do that with Yah's grace. So all of these things happen with the ark. All of these things happen with the ark. Every time this ark was not revered the way it was supposed to, people died, people got sick, rats came into the land, people got hemorrhoids by the thousands. And even Israelites who were Levites, 3,000 of them died just because they wanted to look in there. See, what's in there? Is Aaron's rod still in there? Is it still budding? I would want to see it too. I would have been, trying to beat it. And they got killed. They got killed with a T. They got killed. They got killed. All that happens before King David finds out the ark is here. And then he turns around and does the same thing. He doesn't regard Yah's precious thing. Now, Yah had given to them in the law the way to move the ark. Right? You're supposed to have 2 poles of stick. You're supposed to have a certain amount of Levites. Only Levites are supposed to. There is no law that says put it on a cart. It don't matter if it's a brand new Lamborghini cart or a Maserati cart. It don't matter what kind of cart it is. Right? These things are set apart. They're sanctified. These things are set apart. They're sanctified. I'm going to skip down here because we read this account already. All right. And we're going to leave it right here because this is a to be continued. To be continued. And so the first part of the message is that Yah is waking his people. And somebody mentioned, when you know better, you do better. This period of grace that we lived under, the way that grace was applied, when Yah is waking us up, when we know better, we do have to do better. It's not optional. It's not optional. Well, I know we're supposed to meet on Saturday, Brother Larry, but I know I'm supposed to rest. But and I'm not talking down or judging anybody. I gotta correct my own self. I just want to go out to eat. Right, I just want to. I know we're not supposed to eat pork, but man, that bacon. Listen, there is coming a day and a time where Uzzah is going to stop extending that grace, especially, and it doesn't matter if we're ignorant about it. The closer he comes to us, the more he reveals himself, right? The more of his presence that we're connected to, the more absolute we will feel the results of his judgment. He's about to turn up the heat. He's already started. He's turning up the heat. He's turning it up now. Now is not the time to play around with his stuff. Now is not the time to take his things for granted. Now is not a time to make his laws and commandments optional. Now is not a time to be ignorant of his laws and commandments. I stand guilty. I don't study them every day. We were told to recite them every day, to write them on our doorposts, keep it in our hands and in our minds, right? Meaning that we do them, we think about them. Teach our children continually. But we're not doing it. Just because my child is ignorant, because I didn't teach him. Yes. In the time of Yah's judgment, he's not looking at that. His judgment is absolute. That's why when Uzzah touched that ark, I can't go back and read it. Look at this. Look at this right here. And they brought forth So the ark, when it got into the last city, they left it at Abinadab's house. Right? He's the one that got blessed. Everything in the house got blessed. Right? It says, and they brought it from the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill. And then something was on that. It was on the high place. With the ark of Elohim, and Ahoyo or Ahio was walking before the ark. Right? Walking before. Now, in the previous verse, you see, Abinadab had two sons. One was Uzzah, and the other son was Ahio or Ahio. So now picture this. They got the ark ready. It's in the new cart. The one son is walking before the ark. He's walking before the ark. Let's keep reading. And David and all the house of Israel were dancing before Yahweh with all instruments of fir wood, and with lyres, and with harps, and with tambourines, and with systems, and with cymbals. And when they came to the threshing floor of Nacon, Uzzah reached toward the ark of Elohim and took a hold of it, because the oxen stood. He reached for the ark, and he took a hold of it. There was something very irreverent about what he did. And he took a hold of it. He reached for it and he took a hold of it. Now I'm going to show you, because the scriptures tell us things. We just have to read. And the wrath of Yahuwah burned against Uzzah, and Elohim struck him there for the fault. So Yah said, you at fault. You should not have reached out and laid hold of the ark. Like you just lay a hold of my stuff, of my things. Now let's go back to the first verse that we read. The very first one. First verse we read was 1 Samuel 6:14. And the ark came into the field of Joshua of Beth-Shemite, and stood there where there was a great stone. And they clave the wood of the cart, and offered the heifers a burnt offering unto Yahuwah. So this is the first example where people did not receive any punishment while they had the ark. What do we see different here than what we saw with Uzzah? I'm going to read it again. There's something entirely different that happened here that Uzzah did not do. It says, and the cart came into the field of Joshua of Beth-Shemite, and stood there where there was a great stone, and they clave the wood of the cart, and offered the heifer a burnt offering unto Yahuwah. What's different?
Sacrifice.
Yep, they did a sacrifice. But there's something else in here that's entirely different on how it was handled.
He claimed it with wood.
They claved the wood. They didn't touch the ark. These people in Beth-Shemite, they knew not to touch that ark. So when the cows brought it there and it stopped, they didn't even touch it. They only touched the wood. They only touched the wood. They had reverence for Yah's things. They had reverence for the ark. They weren't going to lay their hand on that ark. Their hands was probably dirty. They knew not to touch Yah's stuff. And so it said they claved. The word clave, it doesn't just mean touch. That doesn't mean handle. That means that they held that wood. They really held on to that wood. So that they didn't have to touch the ark. They didn't want it to tilt and have to touch it. They reverenced the ark. And because of that, they were spared. They didn't suffer the consequence that Uzzah did. Uzzah, he suffered the consequence. Right? He suffered the consequence. Because he took a hold of it. He took a hold of the ark. On one hand, they took a hold of the wood. In his instance, it said he reached out and took a hold of the ark. Why didn't he just grab the wood? Why didn't he just stay in the cart? Why didn't he just get up under that car and say, hey, y'all? There was some wrong intent inside him that Uzzah saw. Now, when we read the account, we just say, well, why would Uzzah do that? All he did was try to stay in the car. No, he should have known not to touch that thing. It was in their house for 3 months. He had been around this ark for 3 months. You know, sometimes when we're around something, we get familiar. Like us who grew up in church, especially PK, grew up or close to ministry. We get familiar with God's stuff, with his things. And sometimes we put ourselves ignorantly in a place of irreverence. Making fun of the way people shout. Singing crazy versions of praise songs. We do irreverent things. But Yah is letting us know he ain't changed. The same anger that he had toward Uzzah will be released toward other people who are operating in ignorance. Yeah, we got grace for forgiveness. We got grace. But sometimes when we do things ignorantly, we don't have time to ask for that grace. Uzzah didn't have time to ask for grace. We might have family members that don't have time to ask for grace. Who might get themselves ignorantly in situations where Yah is coming forth as a judge because he didn't change. He didn't change. He didn't change. Hallelujah. I'm going to leave it right there. We're going to pick up on it next week because next week we're going to fast forward into the book of Acts, chapter 5. Acts chapter 5. Because a lot of people, you know, we were taught that, well, the God of the Old Testament was the God of wrath, but the God of the New Testament is the God of love. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But we're going to see that next week. Did he change? Did he change? The answer is no. So we're going to leave it right there. Let's pray. Father,